call to order the January 2015 legislative meeting of the Borough Council. Please stand and join me in the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all for joining us. And indeed it is 2015. It seems like just yesterday we were concerned about Y2K, and here we are 15 years later, and we're still here. All right, so we have probably the largest collection of meeting minutes ever assembled in the annals of Media Borough. We've been busy this past month, so we have seven sets of meeting minutes, so we have quite a bit of housekeeping to do. All right, so let's begin. We had a public hearing on December 4th, 2014 with regard to Community Development Block Grant projects. And do I hear a motion to approve those meeting minutes as submitted?
So moved.
Second. Is there any discussion on the motion? Is there any discussion on the minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the meeting minutes for the December 4th, 2014 CDBG grant hearing as submitted, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, please say nay. The motion passes. On that same date, we had a meeting with regard to public debt. And we have minutes for that meeting as well. Do I hear a motion to approve those meeting minutes as submitted?
So moved.
Second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the public hearing minutes for the December 4th, 2014 hearing concerning debt, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, please say nay. The motion passes. Only because we're on a roll, we also had a special meeting on that same day, December 4th, 2014. And we have a set of minutes to reflect that as well. Do I hear a motion to approve the special meeting minutes for December 4th, 2014 as submitted?
So moved.
Second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the special meeting minutes as submitted, please say aye.
Aye. Yes.
Aye. Those opposed, please say nay. The motion passes. And then we also had to complete the, I don't know if there's a word that expands on trifecta, but this is the fourth of that same day. December 4th, 2014, we had our regular workshop meeting. And of course, we have a set of minutes to reflect that. Do I hear a motion to approve the workshop meeting minutes for December 4th, 2014 as submitted?
So moved.
Any discussion, or is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
I'd like to make a couple edits. Real quick, spelling, Scott Whitman's last name is spelled W-I-D-T, not W-H. And in my section, the statement is which is no change from last year, not from this year. The first paragraph. Basically, the millage rate didn't change from last year, not this year. Simple typos.
Did you get that all, Joanne? Mm-hmm. Okay, good. All right, will the maker of the motion agree to amend his motion to reflect
Sure
the
will.
changes? Okay. Any discussion on the motion as amended? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the December 4th, 2014 workshop meeting minutes with the amendments as specified by Councilman Davidson, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, please say nay. The motion passes. On December 18, 2014, we had a public hearing in advance of our regular council meeting. The subject matter of that public hearing was the budgets for 2015. Mr. Smith did, as usual, an excellent job of summarizing those budgets. And of course, we have a set of minutes to reflect that hearing. Do I hear a motion to approve the public hearing minutes for December 18, 2014 as submitted?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the public hearing minutes for December 18, 2014 as submitted, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, please say nay. The motion passes. And then we have our regular council meeting of December 18, 2014. We have a set of minutes for that meeting. Do I hear a motion to approve the council meeting minutes for December 18, 2014 as
So
submitted? Is there a second?
Second.
I do have a request that there be some slight changes made, and this is on page number 4 under my agenda, Joanne. And it's really a matter of terminology. If I use the term incorrectly, I apologize, but I see in several places under my agenda, there's a reference to the 3rd Street Bridge. It's actually the 3rd Street Dam. If I said 3rd Street Bridge, I was incorrect. It's the 3rd Street Dam, because that's what it is. It's a dam, not a bridge.
3rd Street Dam slash bridge slash dam.
I see 3rd Street Bridge slash dam project.
Yeah.
I think it's best to call it a dam because there is no bridge there. It's a dam. So let's just call it a dam.
I'd also like to make a similar one. Scott Whitman's name is misspelled. It's W-I-T-T-M-A-N. And on page 5.
Okay, any other discussion or calls for question? Joanne, you've been ducking the incoming? All right, will the maker of the motion accept those?
Sure will.
All right, then we have, I'll call the motion. All those in favor of approving the meeting minutes for December 18, 2014 as amended, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, those opposed, please say nay. The motion passes. And then last but not least, on December 30, 2014, we have a special meeting with regard to, among other things, setting the millage rate for Borough Media 2015. It will be 3.0 mils, the same as it's been for years and years. And we have a set of minutes to reflect that meeting. Do I hear a motion to approve the special meeting minutes for December 30, 2014?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving the special meeting minutes for December 30, 2014, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please say nay. All right, housekeeping is done. Before we move on to public comment and privilege of the floor, I'd like to mention that after our January 8, 2015 workshop meeting just last week, we discussed 2 personnel matters in executive session. All right, now we come to public comment and privilege of the floor. If there's anyone here who wishes to address council at this time, please come to the microphone, identify yourself by name and where you live, and then please address council. Yes, sir.
Joe Baggerty, I live at 109 West 8th Street. And I'm a little taken back that there isn't more people from the Borough Highway Department here at this meeting tonight. As of this morning, I was promised that there was going to be a lot of the people from the highway here to discuss why they don't have any insurance anymore for their medical. They were apparently all dropped. And when I went to get, me and my son went to get a referral, the girl went to get the referral, she says, you don't have insurance anymore. So I talked to the guys down at the highway department, no, we don't have any insurance anymore. So what happens, God forbid, if any one of them should have left work, when at Palmer Pike, got in a terrific accident, went to Riddle Hospital, went to the ward, and the girl said, you don't have any insurance. It's not the way that's done. I mean, this don't make sense.
Well, Mr. Dockey, let me just see if we can address the threshold issue here. Mr. Smith, is it the case that the highway department no longer has insurance?
No, we do. There is insurance. Unfortunately, when the Borough Council switched over and joined the Health Insurance Trust, evidently there was a glitch at IBC that we were made aware of. So we've been in contact with them. Everyone does have insurance. It's just a matter of evidently a computer glitch at the Independence Blue Cross. So we were made aware of it. We've been in contact with them. They've assured us everybody does have insurance. So that's where things stand right now.
So if a member of the highway department goes to see their doctor, they go to the hospital, and there's a question about whether or not they have insurance, what should they do?
They should notify the borough office immediately, and then we would follow up with our insurance broker immediately and make sure that everything is covered.
Well, that was one of my reasons, because my son was denied a referral because the doctor's office says he no longer has insurance.
Did the, I'm over here, Joe. Did the employee contact the borough? Or is this the first time that you're addressing the issue?
Well, talking to the guys this morning, I don't want that there's not more guys here, because they said they were all coming. They all talked among themselves. And I was present down at the highway garage when all this was going on, because I wanted to find out.
Was this before or after anyone from Highway or spoke to either the director, Ralph, and or our borough manager?
This was yesterday.
Did anyone, again, I'm just trying to get some clarification. Did any of the highway employees contact either the highway director or the manager with regards to the question of the no insurance?
Well, I just assumed that someone had mentioned it to somebody in authority, but they were all saying the same thing, that they no longer had insurance. There was no message came down from Blue Cross that this was going to happen, and it was just everybody got blindsided.
And it sounds, Mr. Duffy, that we got blindsided as well, that we did not know this until just recently, and it appears as if the problem was not on our side, but with Blue Cross. And I think, Mr. Smith, that has either been ironed out or is in the process of being ironed out.
That's correct.
The receptionist at the rural hospital, when she told us that we no longer have insurance, when she called Blue Cross, they said that there was 300 people that were dropped. Now, I'm assuming that Nether Providence, Upper Providence, maybe Springfield is a big block of insurance.
No, I work for a company up in Berks County, and we had the same problem. It seems like Blue Cross is having an issue throughout. So it's not a lack of coverage. You have coverage.
It's a lack of communication from the carrier.
We're all saying tonight, as I'm standing here, that we have coverage. But yet, just a couple of days ago, we had no.
We did have coverage, Joe. We did have coverage. We did have coverage.
But it never came down, especially to the employees of the highway department, because they all agreed that.
And I have to come back again and say, did anybody, they all spoke amongst themselves, did anyone bother to ask Ralph, our highway director, for people who may not be aware who Ralph is, and or our manager, so that our manager and or Ralph could have explained the same situation to the employees as you're getting explained this evening?
Well, I'm just assuming that they had gotten in touch with somebody who knew.
No.
But apparently, from what I see,
I'm making an assumption that they must have been aware by now, because I would tend to think that our highway group, if they felt realistically that they weren't insured, they would be here this evening. So I'm now making an assumption, which I don't like to do, is that they are aware that they are covered with health insurance.
Well-
Mr. Duffy, I think what we're saying is that there is coverage, there was coverage, there was a mistake by IBC, Independence Blue Cross. And if there is a problem in the future, then please call Mr. Smith, and he will do his best, or Ralph, and they will do their best to straighten out the situation.
well, it just seemed so aware that all of them that I talked to, even as far as this morning, that they still did not understand that they did not have insurance. So my question
They
was-
had insurance, they have insurance. The problem with IBC, they made a mistake.
So you're saying it's a communication problem, but the insurance is there, and the communications is the problem.
The insurance company did a lousy job of letting that go down to the people that are supposedly to be insured.
Right.
Because when I was talking to the guys from the highway department, the question come up, God forbid, don't get in an accident going home.
But you've got coverage, it's coverage, it's just that a glitch in the system according to everybody down there.
Well, like I said, as of this morning, when I talked to some of the guys from the highway department, they still believe they did not have an insurance.
But they have it, so you go out and spread the word for us.
I will definitely do that.
Very
And
good.
if they, or they could speak with Ralph, or they could speak with Mr. Smith, and he can tell them what the situation truly is.
Well, I will tomorrow make sure that I get out and talk to some of the guys on the highway department to make sure that they understand.
Or maybe Mr. Smith will contact Ralph to make that clear to not even putting that on responsibility on you.
Yeah.
So we'll make sure that that's done.
It's not me because I'm here because my son works on the highway.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's a terrible thing to be, come to work every day and you got in the back of your mind that, hey, I don't have insurance anymore.
Reassure him that you have it.
I will talk to some of them tomorrow.
Okay, great.
But I just thought that would be something that should have been brought up before council because, and I mean, I blame all this on Blue Cross.
Uh-huh.
They could have handled it a lot better. The communication just was not there.
Yes.
Well,
Let's spread
Thank
the
you,
word.
thank you,
Yeah.
Mr. Dockery, for bringing that to our attention.
okay, thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
You're welcome. Does anyone else wish to address council at this time? We'll then proceed to the engineer's report. Mr. Johnson.
Thank you and good evening. Do a brief summary of the report for December 2014. We were completing the closeout paperwork for Joseph Zucker for liquid fuels. Excuse me, we did some various communications with PennDOT and the Borough to do some additional traffic signal revisions for the pedestrian crossings along Borough Avenue, which has been completed. Various meetings. We did receive one plan for 1214 West State Street, lot consolidation plan, which we have prepared a letter for, and did a site review of Hoopin Park the day of Tuesday, December 16th, when the day after the pedestrian bridge was lifted in place. That's my report in summary. Does anybody have any questions? Hearing none, thank you.
I'll let you roll with it, Bob. Okay, let's then move on to Mr. Scott, our solicitor.
Thank you, I don't have anything to report.
Are there any questions for Mr. Scott? Hearing none, we'll move on to the mayor for his report.
Thank you. During the month of December, the department handled 649 complaints and a total of 8,317 complaints for the year of 2014. There were no reported burglaries in December. However, on January 13th, a couple days ago, a burglary did occur. 2 juveniles have been arrested for this case. Officers responded to a call of 2 people attempting to gain entry into a residence in the 400 block of North Olive, approximately 6 p.m. Responding officers, both subjects ran with the officers in pursuit. The juveniles disappeared from sight. During this time, the officers received an additional call that a juvenile entered an unoccupied residence on the 300 block of North Orange Street through an unlocked rear door and asked the homeowners if he could hide from the cops that were chasing him. He then ran out of the home and was captured a short distance away by the officers. The investigation led to the identity of the second juvenile, who was later turned in by an adult family member. I was wondering why this was in bold letters. I thought it was directed at me, but it says, "Always lock your doors even when you are at home, please." So it's a good lesson that was learned this week. And please report to 911 when you see anything suspicious. This Sunday will be Martin Luther King Day. The celebration will be at First Methodist at State and Lemon at 3:45. Used to begin at 4, they moved out 15 minutes. This will be the 71st anniversary year for the Media Fellowship House, and they, of course, are the host of the Martin Luther King Day celebration. So we invite all to come. The 70th was a great year, culminating in the celebration event with Bill Whitaker present. We all know the history of the Fellowship House 70 years ago, and this is the 71st year. So let's make it as good as the 70th year, and hope to see many of you there. I know Brian, you just commented on it before the meeting. So that's my report.
Are there any questions for the mayor?
That was
Any questions for the mayor? Hearing none, we'll then move on to the council committee reports. We have Recreation and Health, Councilman Blair.
Good evening. I have nothing to report from Board of Health since their meeting that was scheduled for this past Tuesday was postponed because of the weather until next Tuesday, the 20th. As far as rec, their meeting was postponed as well, but there are a couple items of business and an announcement. One announcement, one of our borough residents, Cheryl Brooke O'Neill, is going to present, it's called a Zentangle class, which has to do with art and meditation. So you can visit the borough website and get some information. They're planning to do a workshop somewhere in the next month or so. They have yet to come up with a date for that, but tentatively that'll be coming up soon. And then sometime, I believe in April, will be the upcoming family dance. So if you're interested in that, you can look at the website for that as well. The item of business is I would make a motion that we reappoint Art Brown to the rec board for a term of 5 years, expiring 12/31/19.
Second.
Motion is made and it's been seconded. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those who favor reappointment of Art Brown to the Recreation Board for a term of 5 years, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, please say nay. The motion passes.
And that concludes my report.
Are there any questions for Councilman Boyd? Are hearing none, we'll move on to Councilwoman Lisa Johnson, and I think we're going to be continuing with that theme of appointments and reappointments.
Thank you. I have no report from the HARB or the Historical Media Society, but I do have a report from the NBA. They have been working with a consultant named Jamie Alvarez, who is expected to submit his final report in February, and they will share a copy with us. The NBA is also working on new banners that hang from the light poles on State Street. The current ones are about 8 years old. They've lived past their life, so they're getting quotes on new banners. They're gearing up for Restaurant Week and Chinese New Year in February. And they've hired a part-time events coordinator to help with the day of events, especially Dining Under the Stars, since that's a very big event and needs coordination. The other item is that we do have some reappointments for the board. However, the president of the board, Brian Messick, wanted me to announce that they are actively looking for new board members. They are, he termed it, looking for new blood. So I confirmed what the requirements were to be a board member on the MBA. And he told me that you have to be a current owner of a business, or a former owner of a business in media, or a property owner in media,
Former owner?
or just a property owner in media, or a resident. They would prefer that the resident have business experience. And they are, would like to interview the people and come up, choose the people they think would best fit the skill set they're looking for. They're also looking for someone to represent the Five Points area and the Baltimore Pike area, Baltimore Avenue. So if anyone knows of anyone that's interested in joining the MBA board, please contact Mr. Smith with your interest, and he'll pass that along, I'm sure. So with that in mind, I'd make a motion to accept the resignation of Louis Barneau from the Media Business Authority.
Second.
Is there any discussion on the motion to accept the resignation of Louis Barneau from the Media Business Authority? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor of accepting Mr. Barneau's resignation from the Media Business Authority, please say aye.
Aye.
Yes.
Those opposed, please say nay. The motion passes.
The second item is to accept the appointment of Brian Messick to the Media Business Authority for a term of 3 years, expiring 12/31/17.
I'll take it as being made in the form of a motion. Is there a second on the motion?
Second.
There is. Is there any discussion on the motion?
I guess just a quick question. Do you know what the total members of the board? I see that there's a significant amount of
Yes.
quote reappointments this evening. And if there's an opportunity,
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because that was one thing Brian said to me, that they would like to maintain 10 people on the board. They have 2 new people. Luik is leaving. They just recently had 2 new people join the board. And they have other people that, will be hopefully reappointed tonight, but they are actively seeking replacements for these people, because he would like to have 10 people total on the board. So he doesn't want anyone to leave before they find replacements.
So, no, okay. The reappointments are for a term that ends in 2 years.
3.
3 years. 20, 12, 17.
all of 15, all of 16, all of 17.
Oh, I see. But then where would you find room for them?
Exactly.
Since it's a 10, it's a,
No, he wants a minimum of 10.
oh, so he can decide how large it's going to be.
Well, I don't know the exact wording in the bylaws, but most bylaws will allow you to have a flexible number of
I
people.
don't think there is.
He told me he needs at least 10.
We had over 20 a couple of years, not a couple, maybe 5 or 10 years ago, yeah.
Wow.
And then somehow, I mean, it opened up to a lot of people, because, I guess, representing, as you said, different areas around town.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing, I don't think there is that kind of a limit.
Well, we do have a motion that has been seconded, and there's been no discussion on the motion. I'd suggest that we get through this motion. If there's any further discussion about the number, then we may have it, or perhaps it's best to leave it until the next workshop meeting. But before the motion gets stale, I'll call the motion. All those in favor of the reappointment of Brian Messick to the Media Business Authority for a term of 3 years, expiring the last day of 2017, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, please say nay. The motion passes.
I would like to suggest before a motion that we possibly think about tabling the balance so that we can get a little bit more details. I mean, I'd really like to know what the number of board members can be, more than just, well, we're going to try to get some new blood. I mean, this is a significant amount of reappointments. And if council wouldn't mind, if we could wait until February's meeting, the people that their terms are in the process or have expired could and should continue to serve until such time that they either get reappointed. So I just like to have a little bit more details before we start voting.
Jeff, can I ask you a question? Sure. What is the protocol if their term has expired? Do they continue to serve on the board?
They do. They continue to serve until such time as council either reappoints them or appoints someone else to serve that term.
Okay.
So they're fine.
So
That's what we do.
the MBA would continue to have the 10 people that Brian's looking for?
Correct.
Yeah, if it's not going to adversely affect the NBA board, I don't see a problem with tabling until next time. We could talk about it at workshop and vote on it next legislative meeting.
I don't have any difficulty with that, but you might need to explain to Mr. Messick why it is that he got special treatment.
You want
but
me to explain that?
Well,
I'll be glad.
Well, so the question, so to make sure I'm clear, the question is, you want to know what the bylaws say as far as the number of people on the board?
I think that's important, because, I mean, if we're reappointing a significant number, to also find out that there's a certain number that can be on. I'll have to pull the bylaws, because it's been a long time, but I didn't recall that the bylaws also included, former business owners. I mean,
So the requirements of them?
It kind of sounds like, I mean, I look at the requirements of a board member, it's anyone who had anything to do with media at any time.
Yeah.
I would also like to request just the attendance of the new appointees to see how often they come to meetings. We did this 3 years ago, and some appointees were at less than half the meetings, and as a policy, wouldn't work for me.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
all right, we have a number of issues that appear to be worthy of working out over the next month, at least with regard to reappointments to the Media Business Authority.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You still got some more.
Oh, the sound
You're
seems a
popular
little
this evening.
quiet. My pen's not working very well. Let's see, I think, oh, there we go.
Historical.
So I'm gonna skip 3, 4, and 5, and 6. Number 7 is the appointment of David Erfer to the TAR for a term of 5 years, expiring 12/31/19. So I'd like to make that in the form of a motion.
Second. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the reappointment of David Erfer to the Historical Architectural Review Board for a term of 5 years expiring at the end of 2019, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please say nay. The motion passes.
And I'd also like to make a motion to reappoint Elizabeth Rohr to the Historical Architectural Review Board for a term of 3 years. Is that true? 3 years?
Yeah, Mr. Smith, there appears to be a difference. One is 5 years and one is 3 years.
It might be one of those boards that has staggered. Give me 1 second, and I'll confirm that for you.
That's right.
It's just a copy and paste.
Yes, they're all 5-year terms. Apologize for the typo.
Okay, for a term of 5 years expiring December 31, 2019.
All right, the motion's been made. Is there a second? There is. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those who favor the reappointment of Elizabeth Rohr to the Historical Architectural Review Board for a term of 5 years ending the last day of 2019, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, please say nay. The motion passes.
Okay, and then I'd just like to make one announcement that there will be a zoning board meeting on January 22nd at 7 p.m. So if you'd like to voice your opinion on the Wawa project on Providence Road, please attend the zoning board meeting.
That's a continuation of the December? Then that was,
Well, there was
that was
a,
planned for January.
yeah, the December, the regularly scheduled December meeting was postponed until January, and that did not go forward because one of the persons involved was unavailable that day.
So this isn't a typical day for the hearing?
I don't know there's ever a typical day for a zoning hearing.
Thursday?
Oh, a typical day. Oh, this will be the regularly scheduled day.
Yeah, 22nd is a Thursday. So come and voice your opinion if you choose to. And that's all I have. Thank you.
All right. Any questions for Councilwoman Johnson, Lisa Johnson? Hearing none, we'll move on to.
Oh, there's a hand. May I make a point of question for that? What's the protocol to speak at the zoning hearing?
It's the protocol to speak at the zoning
If
hearing.
you want an opinion, is there a process or something?
There is a process by which they will accept comments from residents. There's a separate process for becoming a party to the zoning hearing board before the application for the zoning hearing board. Two different things. But if you're a member of the public and you wish to come forward, then the chair of the zoning hearing board typically will invite anyone who wishes to make a comment. Sometimes they put some limitations on the comments because oftentimes you have several different persons who wish to make the same comment. But typically that type of commentary is allowed.
Thank you.
And to add on to that, they may not accept public input. If the hearing continues from 1 week or 1 month on next, they may hold public comment till such time as the actual testimony is provided. So, it's one of these situations that we on council would be aware of. You could come and simply ask when the meeting starts if they're going to accept public comment that evening. And I think they'd either be able to give you a thumbs up or a thumbs down based on how much more testimony or information they need to receive.
Thanks for clarifying.
All right, then we'll move on to Vice President Robinson, Properties, Public Safety. Public Works, and Civil Service.
Okay, first, as I do every month, I'll encourage anybody who is interested in working with the media fire or EMT unit to please contact the fire company. You can be a firefighter and/or an administrative person with the department. Everyone would be welcome, so if you're interested, please contact the fire company. With regards to the agenda, Public Works, Public Safety had meetings this week. Public Works was nothing really exciting. Properties was really just discussing some areas in which we plan on doing for this year that are in the budget. Such things as, exciting things, such as our generator, what was some of the other things, Jeff, that were on there? It was, generator, elevator.
Yeah, painting at the
Painting.
armory, some driveway enhancements, that type of stuff.
All these things that, several members of the council serve on the committee. They're not exactly the exciting things, but they're required and important for the borough, and I don't bring them up as often as I should. Public safety, we had several meetings with residents with regards to parking issues and or other issues. I think there will be some communications coming out from the Public Safety Committee probably within the next 30 days regarding some of those situations. With regards to the agenda, relatively short, which is nice. This will be in a form of a motion. We have had one of our sergeants had to go out on disability with that. We did have a sergeant's list that comprised of 3 applicants. One of the 3 was promoted 2 months ago to sergeant. The mayor feels that we do need to have 3 applicants to meet the requirements of the civil service requirements. So right now we only have 2, the top 2. So I'll make a motion that we request the Civil Service Board to provide council an updated list for the promotion of sergeant for the Media Police Department.
Second.
Motion been made, it's been seconded. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those who favor requesting that the Civil Service Board provide an updated list for promotion of sergeant in the Media Police Department, please say aye.
Yes.
Aye. Those opposed, please say nay. The motion passes.
Thank you. Second on the agenda is the adoption of ordinance 1115, traffic ordinance amendment. This is really nothing more than a housekeeping matter. Through the year, we will make changes to some of our parking requirements and or add stop signs. Under municipal code, we are required to amend our traffic ordinance every year with any of the changes, so that's really what this is. This, looking at it without boring everybody, it's a stop sign and a handful of handicap parking spaces. So with that, I'd like to make a motion that we adopt ordinance 1115 of 2015.
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor of adoption of ordinance number 1115 with regard to traffic ordinance amendments, please say aye.
Aye.
Yes.
Aye. Those opposed, please say nay. The motion passes.
Third on the agenda with a list of highway resurfacing for this year. It has not been finalized, but we do know that one of the areas will be State Street, and we want to make sure that we have our ducks lined up so that we can have State Street paved during the summer months when things are a little bit slower, after the race, but before the people come back from the Jersey Shore for the summer. So we're going to start on this a little bit earlier, so I'd like to make a motion that we authorize our borough engineer, borough solicitor, and borough manager to put together the advertising requirements and bids for the 2015 road resurfacing.
Second.
Motion is made, it's been seconded. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those who favor authorizing the borough engineer in coordination with the borough solicitor and the borough manager to advertise bids for the 2015 road resurfacing program, please say aye.
Yes.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, please say nay. The motion passes.
And last on the agenda is a mass gathering permit for the Media 5-mile race. Just trying to take a look here. It is Friday, June 19th. Setup time is basically 4 o'clock, but I think anyone who has lived in the borough for more than a year, we will remind people, but get home early. Don't try to get into town at 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock because it's not going to happen. Great event. Monica, I hear, do you know what year it is?
38,
38. It's been a long time, 38th, 39th, so it's a great event. So I'd like to make a motion, we approve the mass gathering permit for the annual community 5-mile race that will be held Friday, June 19th, 2015.
Second.
Motion's been made and it's been seconded. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor of approving the mass gathering permit application as submitted for the 2015 media 5-mile race, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, please say nay. The motion passes.
And this does not require any motion, but this was provided to me by the business authority. I guess it's just a reminder. You did bring it up earlier. On February 28th, which is a Saturday, will be the Chinese New Year's celebration. It will be on State Street. We do not close State Street. We call it a rolling closure. We'll have police with the parade while they go and, as they say, be escorting the line dancers up and down State Street. It will be starting at noon and be complete by 1:30. Would encourage everyone to come out and check out the event. It's very, very interesting and very exciting, but there is no motion to it because there's really not closing down the street. That concludes my report for this evening, Mr. President.
All right, thank you very much. Any questions for Vice President Robinson? Hearing none, we'll proceed to Community Development Personnel and Media Arts Council. That is my portion of the agenda. I have a few items, most of them involving reappointments. But I do have one action item that does not involve an appointment. It is a preliminary / final reverse subdivision and land development application involving 12 and 14 West State Street. Essentially what's happening is that there are 2 adjacent properties, they're separate parcels, they're being merged into one. So it's a reverse subdivision. Subdivided before, now becoming one again. Anyways, so this property is the property that currently is on the south side of State Street, in between Jackson Street and Plum Street. And those of you familiar with the area know that you have Quincy's, then you have Margaret Quo's, then you have Michael's Pizza, then you have an empty storefront, which used to be, I think it's Salon de
Tater Pad for years.
Paper Pad, that's right, that's right. And then next to that is a yogurt store. So the owner of Michael's Pizza does not own the property in which the restaurant currently sits, but he does own.
Is it Lynn?
Lynn.
You know, I'm going back to my days on 11th Street in Philadelphia. It was Michael's Pizza.
Long day.
Excellent pizza.
I thought they changed the names, and I was the one who was, that's why I kept my mouth shut. I was like,
both great pizza. I mean, if you tasted both of them, you'd say
it's Michael's Pizza.
It's Michael's Pizza.
Okay.
Or the land. Okay, all right. So everything you said about Michael's Pizza out the window to the land. The owner of Little Anthony's, business Little Anthony's, does not own that property, but he does own the now vacant property next to Little Anthony's. He also owns the yogurt shop. What he'd like to be able to do is take his restaurant business, put it into the now vacant property, which he owns, and put it right next door to the yogurt store. And then with some modifications to the partition wall, they'll have a larger space and he'll be able to use it in a way that makes more sense to him from a business standpoint. So this was reviewed by the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission recommended unanimously to the Borough Council that we approve this subdivision land development application subject to satisfaction of the terms placed by the borough engineer and the borough solicitor, as well as Jim Jeffrey in his role as the building inspector. Do I got that right?
Yes, sir.
All right, at least I got that part right. So I'll make it in the form of a motion that we approve the preliminary final reverse subdivision and land development application of 12-14 West State Street, subject to the satisfaction of the conditions of the borough engineer, borough solicitor, and the borough building inspector.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving the preliminary, final, reverse subdivision and land development application with all the other requirements that the President added in for the property located at 1214 West State Street, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
All right, that was probably the meatiest of the motions I have to make this evening. The remaining 5 relate to appointees of borough boards and commissions. The first is, involves the planning commission. I don't wish to make this motion, but I must. The current vice chair of the planning commission is Kevin Matson. He has served in that capacity for a number of years. He is chair? Oh, Mike Kinsley is the vice chair.
Right.
Okay, so the current chair of the planning commission, Kevin Matson, has submitted his letter of resignation. And he is resigning because, unfortunately, he is not living within Media Borough. If you do not live in Media Borough, you cannot serve on the planning commission. Because of a change in his family situation, he has moved outside of the borough, and he has indicated that he is going to resign from the planning commission. True to the man, he wrote a wonderful, gracious letter. He has served long and well on the planning commission, and he's helped guide Media Borough over the past, goodness, about 10 years or so, maybe even longer. Always brought kind of a common sense approach to what the planning commission does, and always had the best interest of the borough in mind. But unfortunately, since he no longer qualifies to serve in the planning commission, he must resign. So I make the motion that we accept the resignation of Kevin Matson from the planning commission. His term expires at the end of 2016.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded. Is there any discussion on the motion? All those in favor of accepting reluctantly the resignation of Kevin Matson from the planning commission, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
There is a silver lining to the cloud. That means that there are now 3 open seats on the planning commission, for which we have 7, or is it more than that now? We have 7 letters of interest. Quite an outpouring of interest to serve on the planning commission. The planning commission will still accept letters of interest, so if you are interested, please direct your letter of interest to Mr. Smith. I am hopeful that they will make a recommendation that we will be able to act upon next month with regard to at least 2 of the 3, perhaps 3 of the empty positions on planning. Item number 3 is reappointment of Jim Pompetti, who is our current ICC Life Safety Appeals Board for another term of 5 years, and I make that in the form of a motion.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded. Is there any discussion on the motion? All those in favor of reappointing Jim Pompetti to the ICC Life Safety Appeals Board for a term of 5 years expiring 12/31/19, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Next item also is a motion to reappoint. This is with regard to the vacancy board. I move that we appoint Joan Hagan to the vacancy board for another term of 1 year that will expire at the end of this year. I think this will be the 3rd or 4th year that she has served in that capacity.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded for the reappointment of Joan Hagan to the vacancy board. Is there any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Item number 5, it regards the zoning hearing board. Grayson Franklin is has served on the zoning hearing board for a number of years now. He has served admirably, and I move that we reappoint him to the zoning hearing board for a term of 3 years.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded. Is there any discussion on the motion? All those in favor of the reappointment of Grayson Franklin to the zoning hearing board of a term of 3 years expiring 12/31/17, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Ayes have it.
And lastly, I have a motion to reappoint Vince Pannoni to the Planning Commission. It's a 4-year term. Mr. Pannoni has served very well over his past 4 years. He certainly earned the right to serve another 4 years, or is the opportunity to serve for another 4 years. So I make that in the form of a motion.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded. Is there any discussion on that motion? I'll call the motion. All those in favor of reappointing Vince Pannoni to the Planning Commission for a term of 4 years expiring 12/31/18, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
I have nothing further.
Any comments or discussion for Mr. President? Hearing none, Val is yours.
All right, we'll move on to Vice President Pro Tem, Councilman Davidson, Finance, Technology, Library, and Environmental.
Thank you. First on the agenda tonight is the payment of bills for the month of December 2014. I make a motion that we approve the payment of bills for December of the following amounts. From the General Fund, $166,053.37. From the Recreation Fund, $5,991.44. From Liquid Fuels Fund, $138,653.14. And from the Capital Fund, $30,101.07, for a grand total of $340,799.02. So moved.
Second.
Motion been made, it's been seconded. Any discussion on the motion? All right, I'll call the question. All those in favor of the Borough Media paying its bills for the month of December 2014 from the General Recreation Liquid Fuels Fund and Capital Fund as outlined by Councilman Davidson, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, please say nay. The motion passes.
Thank you. Next up, every couple of years, we look at our vendors for various services within the Finance Committee, and we often advertise this out to see if we get bids to see if we can do better in terms of how much we are charged annually for these services. So I would like to make a motion that we authorize the advertisement for the request for proposals, or RFPs, for actuarial services, electrical services, plumbing services, HVAC services, and tree removal and trimming services for the year 2015.
Second.
Motion's been made, it's been seconded. Any discussion on the motion? All right, all those in favor of authorizing the advertisement for request for proposals for actuarial services, electrical services, plumbing services, HVAC services, and tree removal trimming services, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, please say nay. The motion passes, and so we ask those folks, it is with your best shot.
Next item on my agenda, there's been a lot of discussion this week among myself, Marie Cicchetti of the library, the president of the library board. Just for residents, the library is very much interested in applying for a RACP grant for this year, and is seeking the borough's sponsorship of that grant. After discussion with various consultants, with other municipalities, effectively we have sort of made a decision that media is interested in sponsoring this, but unfortunately we would like to see if we can get Upper Providence or perhaps Delaware County to also see if they can put their support behind it. And effectively we can put our support behind this in the next couple months. There's a deadline of February 9th for them to get the application in. And apparently the sponsorship of the entities can be posted after the fact. So at this point, we'd like to kind of have them do some more work and see if they get support from Upper Providence to have them participate in sponsorship, and like I said, potentially Delaware County. So at this point, I'm just announcing that the library will be seeking a grant. They could win up to $750,000 from the RACP grant. The good news is that they have very good chances of this, or better chances than most, in that the RACP grants generally are given to shovel-ready projects, and the library, as of this point, is effectively, will be shovel-ready, and likely will be putting shovel to the ground this year, most likely April or May, is I think the current estimate. They've hired Lynn Architects to do the design and the construction drawings, which are currently underway, and I just want to congratulate the library board for the great progress they've made, and I think if this grant goes through, we will reevaluate whether Media Borough is going to be the sponsor or not in the coming months. So that said, I will move on to my fourth agenda item. I'd like to make a motion to reappoint Walt Kressler to the Environmental Advisory Council for a term of 3 years expiring the end of 2017.
Second.
Motion made, and it's been seconded. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor, I guess we'll be reappointing Walt Kressler to the Environmental Advisory Council for a 3-year term. Any at the end of 2017, please say aye.
Yes.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, please say nay. The motion passes.
Thank you. Next up, I'd like to make a motion to reappoint Brian Cossack-Lux to the Environmental Advisory Council for a term of 3 years expiring the last day of 2017.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All those who favor reappointment of Brian Cossack-Lux to the Environmental Advisory Council for a 3-year term, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please say nay. The motion passes.
Thank you. Finally, I'd like to make a motion to reappoint Robin Beaver to the Library Board for a term of 3 years expiring the last day of 2017.
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor of reappointing Robin Beaver to the Library Board for a 3-year term, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please say nay. The motion passes.
I do have to point out that Robin Beaver is probably one of the few residents who lives directly between 2 council members, so.
Poor lady.
That's the end of my voting items. I do have some news. Finance, we ended our fiscal year of 2014 and evaluated that a couple days ago. Good news is the borough is doing well financially. We are anticipating a amount of between $400,000 and $500,000 to be transferred to our capital fund for this fiscal year. We're also working on our nonprofit policy and evaluating the policies related to that. For technology, as I'm obliged, as Paul obliged to ever talk about 911, I'm going to talk about public stuff every month. There's an iPhone app called Public Stuff. You can download it for free and put it on your iPhone or Android device every month. And with that, you can report issues in town. And it goes straight to our borough manager and to the correct department, and we'll act on that. The great news is it figures out where you are, you take a picture. It's a great app, so I suggest any borough resident, please check that out. I'd like to announce for the library, there are 2 vacancies in the library board, one for a immediate resident and one for an Providence resident. For those who've been following borough council, we have a very exciting year this year for the library. We're putting a new library in place, and so to be part of that, I think it would be a privilege to have you be involved. So if you are interested, please send a resume or a letter of interest to our borough manager. Last up, for Environmental Advisory Council, the EAC met in January this year and came up with a list of goals and objectives they have for 2015, which I would like to relate as briefly as possible to the public of media. The first one is they are working on a bicycle transportation plan for media and hope to work with various agencies within the borough to make that happen. They're also working with the Delaware County Transportation Management Association, DCTMA, for those who use acronyms, to acquire a sculptural bike rack and place that somewhere around town. They're also working on a wayfinding signage plan, working on recycling education brochures. They're looking on developing a restaurant kitchen waste composting recognition program to help restaurants in town work on composting. They also will basically work with the agencies working on the stormwater master plan, which we have gotten a grant for this year. They're also working on the rain garden signage for the various rain gardens around town. These are gardens where you can put plants in and recycle stormwater, and feature garden with lower maintenance. And they're basically going to do some outreach at the farmers market. And the last thing they're going to do is work with the Houghton Park environmental interpretation sign. So if those who haven't checked out, Houghton Park, I think, is wrapping up this month. So I encourage residents who haven't taken a look at it to take a look. It is very impressive what I've seen that's been done down there. And it's a great project. So with that, I'll conclude my report.
Are there any questions for Councilman Davidson?
Just one. With this RACME grant at $750,000, if the library is awarded that, is that going to take the council then reconsider the $1 million contribution to the library?
I mean, I think it's up for discussion, but I believe there's 2 ways we can offset that money. I would certainly encourage that. I would probably suggest we take it off of the loan amount to reduce our debt payment, reduce the risk long term. But we can discuss it in council.
Instead of the contribution?
Yes.
Okay, so again, it's, because I think it's important that I think it's important that the residents recognize that this grant is a state grant. So it's not necessarily free money. It is it's funds that come from our state tax dollars.
Yes. So the funds that we contribute are taxpayer money, and the funds that come from the state are taxpayer money. it's a bigger pool.
So that's what I'm saying. So we, the residents of the borough, in a form, are paying for this grant.
And sharing with the state of Pennsylvania, yes.
Correct.
So, and let me just clarify, it is for a grant for up to $750,000. That does not mean that we get that maximum amount.
All right, any other questions for Councilman Davidson?
Just would hope our finance committee would take a look at the contribution if in fact the library is awarded this grant.
I mean, I think we'd be willing to do that. I think we should, cross that bridge when we come to it.
I don't disagree.
Okay, so we've got bridges all over this evening.
No, they're not bridges, they're dams.
Some are dams, some are bridges. All right, we'll move on to Farmers Market, Fair Trade and Shade Tree. Councilman Amy Johnson.
Thank you. Farmers Market, the committee had a nice response from surveys that were sent out to shoppers. Questions about vendors, location, product, etc. So thanks to all the people who took the time to take that survey, answering questions that will definitely help improve the market experience moving forward. Reminder again that the first day of market will be May 14th. The committee is actively looking for volunteers. They're looking for a treasurer, somebody to help with social media as well as help out with some education projects. If you are interested, email customerservice@mediafarmersmarket.com. Nothing to report for Fair Trade. Shade Tree, we would like to welcome both of our new committee members, Chris McNichol and Jean Thomas, who attended their first meeting this month. And up for reappointment is Kathy LaRusso, who has done a great job with Shade Tree. Is that? Oh, wow. So I'd like to make a motion to reappoint Kathy LaRusso to the Shade Tree Commission for a term of 5 years, expiring December 31st, 2019.
Second.
Motion's been made and it has been seconded. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I will call the question. All those who favor reappointing Kathy LaRusso to the Shade Tree Commission for a 5-year term, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please say nay. The motion passes.
So, in the months that we're in with ice and snow, please, like Ken said, do use the Public Stuff app to report any branches or trees that look dangerous due to weather, or you can also call the Borough office. And that concludes my report.
Are there any questions for Councilwoman Amy Johnson? Hearing none, we'll move on to Public Relations and Historical Archives. Councilwoman Dixon.
Yes, hi. Okay, with public relations, we've been getting a lot of good press, mostly because of the mayor, but also because of our businesses. And so just last Friday, we were on ABC local because of the Acme. So it's a lot of positive press going on out there. Thank you. The Historical Archives still has 2 openings for members, and luckily, or not luckily, because the description of the job and the job requirement for members has been on the web page for the borough, we've got a couple of nibbles, so we may soon have some people that I will say, can I get a vote to accept this?
It'll be your turn.
So it's really positive, it's very good. I was looking at the resume of one and saying, wow, this is impressive. So our meeting is coming up Thursday, and I'll have something more to report then. That's all. Okay.
Thank you. Any questions for Councilwoman Dixon? Hearing none, we'll then move on to our bookend public comment and privilege of the floor. We have a vast array of residents here this evening. Any of them wish to come before us? No. The vast array nods his head and says no. Oh, okay, Doug.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a comment, and I apologize. I should have said it during my portion of the agenda. A restaurant who had been in the town for 25 plus years, LaForno's, not downtown, located on Providence Road by 5 Points. Been there at least 25 years. John and Bo took a very ugly old 7-Eleven, fixed it up, always had the most beautiful hanging baskets, always had the place decorated for the holidays.
Growing his own food there, might I add.
Yep. Always had a fun, pleasant comment when you came in the store. He will be greatly, greatly missed. He has decided to retire, and the borough media will miss him.
Yes.
Maybe we can put something together, some sort of a recognition, and get him in here sometime in the near future. Just a thank you, because he was just one of those super, super nice guys. Always had something fun to say when you walked in the store. It was probably second or third last business operation in that area of 252. So he will be missed, and made a very good cheesesteak.
Well, I ate there with not the cheesesteak. I think it's good food, period.
There you go.
Sorry. Oh,
We'll miss John.
yes.
That's it.
All right. Unless our resident has a change of mind, I think that we are now in a position to adjourn tonight's meeting. So we are adjourned. Thank you very much.